think I lost about 20 pounds, and I definitely cried a lot, and you're on a lot of codeine because it's a pain reliever, which also makes you constipated. So it's just not a very, it was just a very painful experience, but no makeup today, just because I didn't want to trivialize this video or the video topic, because it is a little bit more on the serious side. And as you guys know, let me do a little disclaimer, as everybody does. I am not a nutritionist, I am not a doctor, I am not a physician, I'm not anyone that you should take medical advice from. So my hopes is that maybe that this story can maybe trigger a thought or guide you in the right direction, because this is a video that I wish I could have seen when I was going through all that I have. But basically, I have been sick up until I was 21 years old. I have been sick the majority of my life. I would say 9 months out of 12 months of the year I was sick. I was always in bed. Oh my gosh, I just remember being sick all the time. One of the earliest memories I have of my childhood is me always being sick, and in the beginning, my parents would be like, oh, have some soup and we'll take care of you, don't go to school. But over time, it became so frequent and so common that I have a distinct memory of them always scolding me and asking me, why do you always get sick, Amy? Why can't you take care of yourself? Like, you really need to take it easy. You're always sick. From when I was like 6 to 8 years old, that's what I remember my parents always saying, and they have said that my entire life, even throughout college. And so basically, when I was 21 years old, I was diagnosed with chronic tonsillitis, and I have always had tonsillitis. Like, in some shape, way, or form, I was always severely ill because of a really supremely sore throat. I would always go to our family doctor, who was just, you know, a nice Korean man that my family kind of went to. The doctor would take one little look at my incredibly inflamed tonsils, and he would just prescribe me the same pill over and over, the same antibiotic. I would visit the doctor quite often too, and most people are very afraid of the doctor, but because I was sick and in pain for most of my life, the doctor was such a safe place for me. Like, I was always really excited to go to the doctor, and I think that's one of the first things that I realized that was not normal about my lifestyle. Is I would be super excited to go to the doctor, because he would get me the magic pill and it would disappear for about 2 or 3 months, and then it would come back. And so unknowingly, my parents really didn't know, and I didn't really know. I just kept taking those pills. But eventually, when I was 13 or 14, when we came back home from the doctor and my dad saw that he had prescribed me the same exact pill, he even pulled it out from the cabinet of our home, and he was like, Amy, I'm not gonna let you take this. Like, why does he keep prescribing me the same damn thing? And so that was the first time that I was just like, I don't know why this doctor, even though he's been seeing me years and years, is constantly always giving me the same damn pill. Over time, this practice is actually quite dangerous, because it can help create bacteria that are actually harder to kill. So I feel like that's where my primary care physician as a kid really messed up. So frequent and overuse of antibiotics can actually make your body antibiotic resistant, and that was what was definitely happening with my body, because as I would get older and older, the sore throats would come back more frequently and a lot more severely. When I went to college from 19 to 21, I think you can go back and hear my old videos. I have something that they call hot potato voice, where it seems like there is a large obstruction in your throat, like a swollen tonsil or something, that it makes you sound like you have hot potato in your voice.
I've officially been diagnosed as someone with chronic tonsillitis, and I recently found out from my surgeon, who's gonna take out my tonsils. He said I have hot potato voice, which means it sounds like I swallowed a hot potato because I have such big tonsils and my voice is muffled. So you're gonna have to endure that with me, because I'm a little sick right now and I'm recovering, but I feel a lot better.
When I would look in the mirror, I have golf ball tonsils. Like, everyone knew me as golf ball tonsils. I showed everyone, and if I could throw in a picture, it's like there were 2 golf balls, my uvula or my punching bag was right there, and it looked like my tonsils were about to like squeeze the uvula. And when I was sick, the tonsils, my golf balls, would be so blistered and have white pus and just be incredibly red, and I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it, because it was the most blistered 2 golf balls in my throat. And when I went to college is when it got extremely bad because I was living a very unhealthy lifestyle already. I was drinking every single week. I was getting no sleep. At one point in college, it got so bad that I knew that once I would go out on Thursday night, I just knew that the entire week and weekend after that one night out, I would have blistered golf ball tonsils for a long time, and it would be hard for me to eat and it would be hard for me to swallow, but I just did it, and that's probably one of the dumbest things. But I just felt like my life was constantly ruled by my tonsils and my throat. I'm gonna be honest, in college that was when it was the worst, and I was also kissing boys, and I thought at one point it was like strep or mono because that's very common on college campuses, and so I used to blame it on that, but honestly it was just that I had chronic tonsillitis. But even when my throat was not sore, I was extremely fatigued. I could always pass out anywhere at any given time, and I just was like always thirsty. Like water has always been my best friend because water has helped my sore throat so much. And I remember having 5 bags of different cough drops because I would eat so many cough drops that I just needed a variety of flavors. But when I went to UCLA, it was not only getting the worst it had ever been, but this is where I started to see a shift in the treatment of my tonsillitis. So when I went to UCLA, I actually got UCLA health insurance, and UCLA health insurance is one of the best because they have one of the best medical programs in the world, and their research is amazing. So I remember going to the UCLA doctor almost like every month because I just loved their health insurance, and it was just so it was just I just felt really great knowing that I was healthy. And I actually got tested for strep and mono, and she just said, no, it's just, you know, it's just tonsillitis, so we're not going to prescribe you we're not going to prescribe you any antibiotics because you don't have strep or mono. You're just going to go home and like rest on it. Like, we're just not going to give you anything because that's what's best. And I thought that was so strange because my whole life I was like, oh, I'm ready to get some pills. Like I you know, the pain is so intolerable that I wanted pills, that's all I wanted, because my Korean doctor back at home would always just do that to me. And when I realized that the UCLA doctor would not give me that, I was like, that's really interesting and weird. And at first I was like, why? She's letting me go through pain. But she was just like, go home, let your body rest, and just like, hopefully it'll go away, she said. And it did always go away, but the pain was so prolonged. There was a point where I genuinely could not even eat ice cream or a smoothie because swallowing would just make tears come out my eyes, and I would get dizzy every time I'd like just try to walk, and it just became so intolerable that I started to look up ways to get rid of your tonsils in general. Because my brother, when he was 6 years old, there was a trend in getting your tonsils out, and you could eat ice cream all the time, and it's just an easier process actually when you're a kid. And tonsillectomies get harder and harder to recover the older you get, and they actually become more dangerous, getting risky the older you get, because it's just really, it's a hard recovery. And so I knew that that was kind of my last resort, and I feel like my pain tolerance is quite high. I went to the UCLA doctor and I said, I want to look into getting a tonsillectomy, and she was like, okay, we will transfer you to, you know, the throat doctor, and we'll see what he says. We'll run some tests, some diagnostics, and then we can get the ball rolling. So probably like my 20th time getting tonsillitis, she just wrote me a referral. I went to the throat doctor, and they told me that they informed me that they were going to put cameras down my throat to take pictures and everything to make sure that, you know, tonsillectomy is really something that I might need. I see the throat doctor, and he goes, how are you? And I'm like, hey, hi, I'm really sick right now, with my hot potato voice. And he's just like, whoa, like you have crazy hot potato voice. And I'm like, I don't even know what that is. And he was like, it's a real thing. And he was like, all right, well, I'm just gonna take a look at your throat really quickly before we, you know, get all the cameras in and whatever. And I just opened my mouth and I go, ah, and he goes, out of my 20 years of practice, your tonsils have taken the cake for the most inflamed, most blistered tonsils I've ever seen. We're gonna do a tonsillectomy next week. Like, there were no cameras. He had no doubt that these needed to be removed. And I have a paper where the diagnosis is literally 20-year-old with chronic tonsillitis. And so I finally got the procedure done, and I basically just knocked out. I went out of school for 3 weeks. and I was pretty much on bed rest the whole time. The recovery process was awful. I think I lost about 20 pounds, and the thing with the tonsillectomy is that you can get blood clots, and if you cough up blood, it's a huge danger, and you should go straight to the ER, and you just have to be very careful with what you eat. And I remember, you also shouldn't have dairy, so the ice cream thing is totally false. You're not supposed to eat dairy when your throat is trying to heal because of all the mucus that it can create. Probably the most miserable 3 weeks of my life. At the point that I was at to get the tonsillectomy, I was like, there is no more severe pain than the pain that I'm already experiencing, so let's just do the tonsillectomy. But once I got into the recovery process of the tonsillectomy, that was probably the most painful thing I've ever had to endure. And I think even when I was drinking soup by the 3rd week in, I would get so freaked out that my blood clot would there would be a blood clot, and I would have to go to the ER, and I thought I was coughing blood. So it was just a crazy experience, and I definitely cried a lot. And you're on a lot of codeine because it's a pain reliever, which also makes you constipated. So it's just not a very, it was just a very painful experience. But I did that surgery when I was 21, and I'm now 23, and I'm almost 24 years old, and I have not been sick in about 2 years. The first couple of months after my tonsillectomy, I was still very much into the college partying lifestyle, so I was just living a very unhealthy lifestyle. I thought, oh, because my tonsils are out, my immunity is gonna be so amazing, and I just continued to drink, and I did get violently ill after the surgery. But I also think my body was just so weak from the surgery, so that was my bad. That was I'm totally responsible for that. And I think back then I was not very health conscious. Like, I ate trash, and I still do eat like trash, but it's a moderately healthy lifestyle with trash added in here and there. But before, it was a fully trash lifestyle with moderately healthy bits added into it. So after I got violently ill, even post-surgery, I decided it was obviously me that was making myself sick at that time, and that's kind of when I really got into the health movement, and I learned a lot more about health and nutrition. I first went vegetarian for almost a whole year, and then the last couple of months I went pescatarian. Now when I'm at home, I don't buy any dairy or meat, and honestly, the goal of my life, I hope at some point, is when I can go fully plant-based, not vegan, because I still wear you know, leather and stuff like that. But I became a lot more health conscious. Not only did I go vegetarian, I also haven't drank alcohol in almost 2.5 years, and I recently started to have like one drink here and there, but I haven't had it for about 2 years. I went completely without it because it just was wrecking my body. I'm very sensitive to, I think, just substances in general. The tonsillectomy was a huge catalyst in me taking power and agency and knowing about my health and why I'm getting sick. And honestly, everything really pretty much changed. Like, I now don't take any painkillers, no Tylenol or Advil. I definitely don't take Midol. But back when I used to be sick for the majority of my life, I was always taking something because I was just so sick all the time. And now that I know what it feels like to be healthy and to not always be sick all the time, like when I get a sore throat now, I'm just like, this is 3% of the pain of what I used to feel. And I'm just like, is this how normal people feel? Like, this is crazy. I really don't take my health for granted now. My overall lifestyle has drastically changed. Like, I always try to eat kale every single day because I genuinely love kale, and it's also super fortifying. I love having a turmeric wellness golden latte. I make those at home. So now I always try to look for homeopathic remedies and how to cure things through herbs and herbal medicine. So if you're sick all the time, I just want to advise that you don't have to always take the prescriptions and the medicines that the doctors routinely and automatically give you, because what's really in them, and I feel like once you become reliant on those, your immunity really goes to shit. I am a huge example of that. I've been on antibiotics my whole life, and NyQuil and Advil and everything, and for a long time post-surgery, I was always taking emergency because I became so scared of getting sick again. I think I need to get the surgery way earlier, and it was my own sheer ignorance that allowed me to be in pain that long, and also my own poor lifestyle choices. So I think I needed to go through that to finally get to the place where I'm at now. I just think it's kind of bizarre. I read somewhere that 95% of the American healthcare industry's funding goes to trying to cure diseases or trying to remedy the diseases that we have already, and 5% of it goes to preventing it. And I think that the ratio should totally be the opposite. It should be 95% of preventative measures and 5% of trying to cure it, because it's kind of like this idea that, oh, we have it now, then we have to get rid of it, but we should just never have it in the first place. When I used to eat healthy and when I used to work out, it was definitely for superficial or vain reasons to look good, but because my family has such a history of bad health, diabetes, cancer, heart disease, and chronic tonsillitis, I think I really found a deeper reason and deeper motivation to work out and eat healthy. Anyways, if this helps just even one person out there watching, I will be extremely happy. And again, a tonsillectomy is no, quick fix. It's a really hard recovery, and it was definitely my last resort, but I am so happy that I did it. Definitely do your research on all the things that I said today. Don't take my word for it. Don't take anyone's word for it. Make an educated decision. But I will see you guys later this week with another video, and thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye!